I let her laugh. I let her mock me. Then I showed her the Shopify dashboard. I've been called a lot of things in my life: quiet, reliable, boring even. But the one that stuck in my chest like a rusted nail was when my wife, Sabrina, called me just a mailman with no ambition. She didn't say it to my face. Of course not. That would have required honesty. No, she said it to her friends over wine and cheese on a Thursday night. I was supposed to be in the garage tinkering, as she called it. I'd come in to grab my phone off the counter and paused in the hallway because I heard my name. They were giggling. I caught just enough. "Oh, Joey? He's sweet. Just a mailman. No ambition, but he's harmless." They laughed. I didn't. I walked out without them seeing me, went back to the garage, and sat on the folding chair next to the space heater I'd rigged from an old camping setup. I stared at the label printer I just fixed, the Shopify dashboard open on my laptop. A stack of custom hoodies waiting to be boxed. I let her think I was harmless. I let her mock me. Because while she was out there clinking glasses and curating Instagram stories about her wine nights with the girls, I was building something out of nothing. I started Ember Threads Company as a side hustle. Just a few quirky teas for Reddit fans and introverts, social battery, 1% certified overthinker, that kind of stuff. One post blew up, then another. Before I knew it, I was shipping orders every night after my shift at USPS. I didn't tell Sabrina. Not when I passed $10,000 in sales. Not when I hit my first influencer tag. Not when I filed for an LLC and opened a business bank account. I let her think I was still out there sorting mail. Because deep down I knew if she saw what I was building, she'd try to own it. Or worse, belittle it before it had wings. She liked her version of me. Predictable. Small. A background character in her curated life. But the truth? I was a storm she never saw coming. I hit 6 figures in revenue on a Tuesday morning. I remember because I was loading Hank, our golden retriever, into the car for a vet appointment when the Shopify app pinged me. $103.92. I just stared at the screen. For a long minute I couldn't move, not out of shock, but because I could already feel the shift in my bones. Everything was about to change. Not because I wanted revenge, but because I finally had proof. Proof that I wasn't just a mailman. I was a builder, a creator, a damn entrepreneur. But the best part? Sabrina still had no clue. Until the morning I didn't go to work. She came out in her robe, toothbrush in hand. "Aren't you late?" I looked up from my laptop. Calm. Solid. "I don't work there anymore." She blinked. "What do you mean?" "I quit. 3 weeks ago." She laughed, actually laughed. "You're joking." I didn't say a word. That silence? It hit her like a slap. "You quit your job?" "Without telling me." "You never asked," I said. Her eyes narrowed. "You better have a damn good reason." So I walked her into the garage, showed her the printer, the stacks of orders, the inventory wall, the Shopify screen still open showing the lifetime revenue ticker at 6 figures. She stared like she was seeing me for the first time. And maybe she was. Because the man she thought she married, the harmless, predictable, low-ambition mailman, was gone. And someone else had taken his place. Sabrina didn't speak for a long time. Just stood there in the garage doorway, barefoot, one hand still holding that pink toothbrush like it was a weapon. I let the silence sit. Let it breathe. Eventually, she walked over to the laptop and stared at the numbers again. Like maybe they'd change if she looked long enough. "This is real?" she finally asked. Her voice wasn't curious. It was cold, tight. "Yep, all of it? You did this." I nodded. "Every order, every design, every social post. I built it from scratch." She laughed. But it wasn't joy. It was disbelief trying to disguise panic. "So what, you just decided to quit your job and not tell your wife?" "No," I said. "I decided to bet on myself. And you weren't interested enough to notice." That landed harder than I expected. Her face cracked a little. "Just for a second. I was working," she snapped. "Keeping this house running while you were, what, playing t-shirt designer in secret?" I could have argued. Could have listed the late nights, the YouTube tutorials, the 4 a.m. customer service replies. Instead, I just asked, "When's the last time you asked me how I was doing?" She blinked. "When's the last time you didn't roll your eyes when I talked about my day?" I pressed. "When's the last time you didn't treat me like background noise?" She didn't answer. Because she knew. Sabrina stormed out, muttering something about needing space, and I just let her go. Because for the first time in years, I wasn't chasing her approval. I was building my own damn path. That weekend, she went to her usual girls' dinner, Angela, Chelsea, the usual crew. They never liked me. I was too quiet. Too stable. They wanted drama. Flash. Ambition, but only the kind that came with 6-packs and leased BMWs. I stayed home like always. But this time I had a plan. I moved the big flat screen into the garage, hooked up my laptop, designed a full presentation, numbers, testimonials, press features, even a clip from a podcast where someone called my hoodie line the Etsy sleeper brand of the year. Then I waited. Sabrina came home around midnight, tipsy, laughing, kicking her heels off in the living room. "Joey, seriously?" she groaned when she saw the screen lit up. "What is this, Shark Tank?" "Just sit," I said. "Calm. Firm." She sighed, but she sat. And then I hit play. The Shopify dashboard, the viral video, the fan mail, the new product line I was launching, the supplier partnership from Portland, the private invite I got to a small business accelerator next month. She didn't blink, didn't speak. Then came the last slide, a photo of our garage from last year. Empty, gray, lifeless. Then the same garage, now shelves lined, labeled bins, products stacked neatly, a small framed sign above the desk, "Build quiet. Launch loud." When it ended, I said nothing. She looked down at her lap, then back up at me. Her face was unreadable. And then she said it. "You should have told me. I could have helped." That stung. "Helped?" I said quietly. "You laughed. You called me just a mailman. You told your friends I had no ambition." She looked away. "I didn't mean it like that. But you said it like that." She didn't deny it. And in that moment, something between us shifted for good. Like a bridge we used to cross had finally crumbled and neither of us wanted to rebuild it. I stood up. "I'm doing this," I said. "With or without your support. But after everything, I'm starting to think it's better without." Sabrina didn't fight me, didn't chase me down the hallway. She just sat there in the glow of the paused presentation, staring at all the things she never thought I could be. By Monday morning, I thought maybe that would be the end of it. Sabrina went to work like usual, quiet, as a little puffy. I didn't ask. She didn't volunteer. The air between us was filled with so many unsaid things, it felt heavier than silence. I stayed home, packed orders, answered emails, filmed a behind-the-scenes video for the Ember Threads company, TikTok, which had finally broken 20K followers. I even added a little post-it note with Hank's paw print to every box. Just something small, personal, memorable. Then around noon, I got a notification I wasn't expecting. A tag on Facebook. I clicked it. There it was, my face, my garage, my work, posted by Angela, Sabrina's friend Angela. The caption? "So apparently Joey isn't just a mailman. He's been running a whole-ass company in secret." Thoughts? Comments flooded in. "Wait, what? This is real. OMG, I bought from Ember Threads. I didn't know it was him. This is kinda hot." And then the worst one. "Sabrina, you knew about this?" She hadn't even commented, but she had liked the post. That's when I knew. She told Angela. And Angela, being Angela, couldn't help herself. She'd turned my life, my business, into content, into gossip, into a talking point between cocktails and Botox appointments. I messaged her, "Please take this down." She replied in 3 seconds flat. "Why? You should be proud. This is amazing." That wasn't the point. I called Sabrina. Straight to voicemail. By the time she got home, the post had over 600 reactions. Comments from people I hadn't seen since high school. My cousin in Michigan. A girl I used to date who now owned a boutique and wanted to collab. Sabrina walked in like nothing happened. Dropped her purse on the kitchen table. "You talked to Angela?" I asked. She didn't flinch. "Yeah." "You told her about the business?" She asked why you quit the post office. I told her. "That's it." She posted it, Sabrina. Photos. My workspace. Her eyes widened. "What?" She didn't say a. She didn't need to say anything. She put my whole life online. Sabrina's jaw tightened. "You're being dramatic. This is good exposure." That word. Exposure. Like I was some brand she could market now that it was shiny and successful. Like the same man she'd mocked 6 months ago had suddenly become her ticket to relevance. I turned away before I said something I couldn't take back. But it didn't matter. Because the next day, a local lifestyle blogger slid into my DMs asking for an interview. And then a reporter from a regional business magazine emailed. And then a message from Shopify itself. They wanted to feature Ember Threads in a segment about pandemic-born businesses that made it big. And all I could think about was how none of this was supposed to happen like this. Not from a Facebook post. Not from her friends. I wanted to control the story. Shape the rollout. But now I was riding a wave I didn't start. Sabrina beamed when I told her about Shopify. "See? It's all working out." I stared at her. "Working out for who?" She froze. I didn't say another word. But that night I started sleeping in the guest room. And the next morning I password-locked everything: email, store backend, banking accounts. Just in case. Because here's the thing about building something from scratch. You remember exactly how much of it was done without the people who suddenly want to share the credit. And that clarity? It's dangerous, because it makes you realize who actually believed in you, and who just waited until the numbers got big enough to care. The first time I saw the phrase, "we built this together," come out of Sabrina's mouth, I laughed. Not out loud, not in front of her, but internally? It was either laugh or lose my mind. She said it to Angela right in front of me while they were sipping wine on our back patio. "We're so proud," she said, nudging Angela. "He's finally getting the attention he deserves. We built this together." Angela nodded like it made sense. Like Sabrina had spent the last year elbow deep in shipping labels and tax filings instead of rolling her eyes at my printer noise. I was at the kitchen sink, watching through the screen door. The hose was still running. Hank was asleep on the porch step. Everything looked peaceful. But inside me? A storm. Later that night, I confronted her. "I saw your little 'we built this' moment." She didn't flinch, just kept brushing her hair in the mirror. "You know what I meant." "No," I said. "I don't think I do." She turned. "I supported you." I tilted my head. "Did you?" "Yes." She paused. "I kept the house clean. I gave you space. I didn't complain." "That's your definition of support?" She crossed her arms. "I let you use the garage rent-free." "Let me? It's our house." She shrugged. "Still, if I wanted to be difficult, I could have said no." There it was, the truth peeking out like rot behind drywall. Sabrina didn't want a partner. She wanted ownership, credit, a cut. And the more success I had, the more her language shifted. "I always believed in your potential. I knew you had it in you. I told Chelsea you'd make it big someday." Except she hadn't. Not once. Not until the Shopify money started rolling in. And then came the email. Subject line, "Proposal, formalizing Ember Threads company as a joint asset." I stared at it for 5 solid minutes. It was a PDF, polished, drafted by someone, a lawyer, probably one of Angela's cousins. In it, Sabrina outlined a proposal she would become co-founder and strategic director of Ember Threads Company. In exchange, she wanted 35% equity and a formal salary starting at $60,000 per year. She cited emotional support, shared utilities, and cohabitation infrastructure as her contributions. Cohabitation infrastructure. I nearly spit out my coffee. I didn't respond to the email. Instead, I called my lawyer. Yes, I had one. Hired him quietly 3 months ago, just in case. We met at a diner 2 towns over. "Is this enforceable?" I asked, sliding my phone across the table. He read it, smirked. "Nope, not without your consent. She can try to sue, but there's no contract, no paperwork, no official role." "She'll escalate," I said. He nodded. "Then we'll be ready." When I got home that night, Sabrina was waiting. "You didn't reply," she said, holding her wine glass like a trophy. "Didn't need to." Her jaw clenched. "You think you can just shut me out?" "I think I already did the hard part," I said. "I built something from scratch while you laughed with your friends about how small I was. You're being cruel." "No," I said, stepping closer. "Cruel would be giving you credit for something you never believed in until it became profitable." She slammed her glass on the counter. "I'm your wife, Joey. That means something." I nodded. "It used to." The next morning, I filed for a formal separation. Not because I wanted to walk away from everything, but because I'd already built something that mattered. And I wasn't about to let someone who never saw my value rewrite the story just because it suddenly made headlines. I knew Sabrina wouldn't go quietly. No, she was the kind of person who treated losing like a PR crisis, one she needed to spin, brand, and repackage to make herself the victim. I just didn't think she'd go this far. It started with a photo. Of course it did. She posted it 2 days after I filed for separation. A grayscale selfie, her sitting on the edge of her bed, hair pulled back, wearing one of my old hoodies. Not a word about me. Not a tag. But the caption said everything. Sometimes ambition hides behind ego. And sometimes love isn't enough to survive a secret double life. Prayers appreciated. That little heart? It was the dagger. The signal. The invitation to every wine night confidant and armchair therapist to take her side. And they did. Angela was the first to comment. "You deserve better. He never saw your worth." Then Chelsea chimed in. "Some men are addicted to control. Glad you got out." Even a girl Sabrina hadn't spoken to since college jumped in with. "DM me. Been through something similar. Let's talk." But the one that stopped me cold? "Is this about Joey? Ember Threads guy?" She didn't reply. She just liked the comment. Suddenly, I wasn't just her ex-husband in waiting. I was a villain in a soft-focused breakup narrative. And the worst part? She was good at it. Crafting the subtle image of betrayal without ever giving details, just enough innuendo for people to fill in the blanks with the worst possible assumptions. I kept quiet. At first. Didn't respond. Didn't post. I just packed orders, ran ads, fulfilled a small collab with an indie artist from Portland. Tried to let the work speak for me. But Sabrina wasn't done. 3 days later, I got an email from a burner Gmail account. Does your company support men who manipulate their wives and hide money from their families? Attached was a screenshot of her post. No name, no signature, just the threat of cancellation hanging in digital ink. The subject line: before I buy. It felt like a slap. I stared at the email for a long time. My hands hovered over the keyboard. I wanted to fire back, to unload every moment she belittled me. Every night I packed orders while she called me cute but obsessive. But something stopped me. The Shopify ping. A new review. 5 stars. Bought this for my introvert teen. Quality is great, but the handwritten thank you note? That's what made us both cry. Thank you for seeing us. I stared at that review longer than I did the email. Because that was the story I wanted to tell. Not the drama. Not the gossip. The connection. The building. The meaning. And to my surprise, people started speaking for me. A customer posted a TikTok in one of my hoodies, reading the thank you card I'd written and ending with, "If this guy's what ambition looks like, I'll buy from him forever." Another one posted in Sabrina's comments, "You were wearing that hoodie in your photo. The one from his store. You sure you want to frame him like this?" Then another, "So you mocked him when he had nothing, but now you're sad because he built something without you?" Within 24 hours, her post was gone. No apology. No explanation. Just gone. But the damage? It hadn't landed where she wanted it to. If anything, it hit her instead. Because later that week, while reorganizing the storage bins in the guest room, her old office, I found a notebook. Pink leather cover. Smelled faintly like her perfume. Inside, notes. Ideas. Product sketches. Brand name, Velvet Ambition Company. Pages and pages of scribbled thoughts. Self-care merch line? Tagline, soft, bold. You. Angela's cousin knows a supplier in Toronto. Even mock-ups. A logo draft with a flower growing out of a closed fist. But it was the final page that broke something wide open. If Joey can do it, so can I. I read it 3 times. Sat on the bed. Closed the notebook. Stared at the wall. And finally understood. This was never about betrayal. Or ambition. Or even love. It was about envy. She didn't hate what I built. She hated that she hadn't built it first. The final blow didn't come with a bang. It came in a manila envelope. Stamped. Hand-delivered. Left on my porch like some twisted Amazon return. Inside, legal documents. A formal notice from Sabrina's attorney. Petition for equitable distribution of shared business assets. She was suing me. Not for divorce. Not for emotional distress. But for 50% of Ember Threads Company. The company I'd built from scratch. Alone. I called my lawyer before I finished reading the second page. He whistled low. "She's got guts. She's got delusions," I said. But the truth? I wasn't surprised. Sabrina had always been drawn to things once they became shiny. She didn't want the blueprint stage, the late nights, the shaky profits. She wanted the storefront after the ribbon had already been cut. And now that Ember Threads was growing, she wanted to own part of it without ever having touched a single package, shot a single photo, or stayed up to answer a single customer support email at 2 a.m. But I had receipts. So many receipts. Invoices. Business bank account statements. IP registrations. Domain purchases in my name. Screenshots of texts where she called it your little project and told me not to waste too much time in the garage. I wasn't just ready. I was armored. Still, when we met for mediation, I wasn't prepared for how far she'd take it. She came in all soft voice and crocodile tears. Told the mediator she'd nurtured the home environment that allowed me to build the business. Said we had always discussed it as a shared dream. Even claimed she helped source hoodie vendors, which was rich considering she once asked me, dead serious, "Wait, do you make the shirts yourself or just press buttons?" I didn't speak. My lawyer did. He laid out the timeline, the records, the brand trademarks. And then he played a clip. A podcast episode. One of Sabrina's friends had her own dating and lifestyle show. A month before the Facebook post, she interviewed Sabrina as a guest. The episode was called Settling or Supporting? At one point, Sabrina laughed and said, "My husband? He's sweet, but yeah, very low maintenance. Zero ambition. He likes routines. Like a golden retriever in human form." The audio was clear. Her voice unmistakable. The mediator listened. Took notes. Looked up. Then turned to Sabrina and asked, flatly, "Did you consider this business something you were actively involved in?" She opened her mouth, but nothing came out. Not because she didn't have something to say, but because, for the first time in this entire mess, someone was listening to me. The case didn't make it to court. She withdrew the petition a week later. No apology. No second letter. Just silence. And then, a few days later, a final text. Hope it was worth it. I stared at it for a long time, then replied. It was. Every second. And I meant it. Because building that business wasn't just about shirts or shipping labels or dashboards full of dollar signs. It was about becoming someone I recognized again. Someone I could respect. I moved out a month later. Hank and I found a new place, small, quiet, with just enough garage space to run inventory. I added a new hoodie to the collection. Unseen, unbothered, unstoppable. It sold out in 48 hours. And the first customer review? It read, "Wore this to leave, my ex walked out with nothing but my keys and this hoodie. Felt like armor. Yeah, totally worth it."